What is going on, Money Team? Today we got my picks for the upcoming CDL and UFC weekend. Last week we made some easy money, as I called it, and I'm confident that trend is going to continue. First of all, onto my CDL picks. First bet is going to be LAG to win map 1 versus Rocker at 1.66 odds for 4 units. LAG is 4-4 and Rocker 4-5 in hardpoint so far into the season. LAG will most likely veto Terminal out, with Rocker vetoing Subbase out, as these are definitely each the best two maps of these teams. So we are either getting Karachi, Skid Row or Invasion here, and in my opinion LAG have the advantage on all three of these possible maps. I'm not going to bore you with the nitty-gritty nerdy details here, but basically LAG only loses hardpoints against the big boy teams, while still making them real close, while Rocker on the other hand doesn't look nearly as convincing on those three maps. If it somehow turns out that Terminal will be map 1, this will definitely be a cash out from me, but if that happens I will of course make an emergency tweet and a community post on here. Take down to the 1.5-ish range. Second bet, Toronto minus 2.5 handicap versus Vegas at 2.20 odds for 3 units. I really like this one at these odds for one specific reason. That reason being is that this is the first match on Saturday, while the last game of Friday is Toronto versus NYSL. That matchup is basically determining who's the number 2 of the CDL right now behind FaZe, so I either see Toronto being hyped as fuck after a win in that game, or being absolutely locked in after losing to NYSL on Friday in order to regain. Either way, I think Toronto isn't losing a respawn to Vegas, and essentially we are getting juicy odds on Toronto just to beat Vegas in the S&D in this matchup. Take down to around 2 odds. On to the next one. I got FaZe minus 2.5 handicap versus Carolina at 1.57 odds for 5 units. FaZe is looking lights out, clear cut number 1 of the season so far, and after Carolina got 3 odds by freaking Rocker last weekend, I cannot help myself but to make this one my first max bet of the year. Yeah, FaZe are probably gonna play the worst maps in this game to get some reps on them, but their worst maps are clear of Carolina's best maps, and this is gonna be a quick trio wipe unless somebody from FaZe literally dies live on stream mid-map during the game. I would be willing to take this one down to around 1.44. Then we got NYSL minus 1.5 handicap versus Boston at 1.80 odds for 3 units. NYSL is also looking scary as hell, coming off a very good last weekend, and on the other hand we got Boston, who are just very underwhelming. Yeah, I know they beat the almighty Miami Heretics, but if we are being real here, they are also just another middle of the pack team, so I don't value that win at all really. I could see Boston taking a hardpoint or a control here though, as NYSL might test themselves as well on their worst maps, but whatever. This line is looking very valuable to me, as I would have predicted this one to be more so around the 1.5 to 1.6 range. Take down to around 1.7. Now onto the Bet365 special. I got Shotzi to have the most kills versus Journey in the Optic versus Miami game at 1.7 odds for 3 units. These odds are as high as they are because Shotzi has been pretty underwhelming so far into the season. Usually you would think that he will easily make more kills than Journey, but if you go off last weekend's games, the stats will tell you that Journey most likely wins the kill duel here, but I still do like this bet for a few reasons. The first one being that the ARs of Miami seem to have fallen off a bit after the patch over the Christmas break. Lucky and Metals were really good at the first 2 weekends of the season, so I can see Shotzi being able to roam around the map and getting his way with Miami's AR duo, while Journey is up against Kenny, who seems to be a top 5 player in this game, as well as Dashi, who hasn't been popping off lately, but at the end of the day, he's still Dashi, if you know what I'm saying. Another pretty obvious factor is that Optic is probably going to win this matchup, which of course correlates with more kills, at least most of the time. Pair that with the also obvious straight up skill advantage that Shotzi got in this matchup. I like the odds on this one. I'm seeing value. I would have probably taken this one down to around 1.66 odds. On to my UFC picks for this weekend. Only 2 as of yet, as this is a pretty stinky pay-per-view and I'm not willing to bet on Trash Can 1 versus Trash Can 2. It just doesn't make sense in MMA in my opinion. So here we go. I got Arnold Allen moneyline versus Movsar Evloev at 2.70 odds for 2 units. This is a very good fight with big implications for the future of the featherweight division going forward into this year. I see this as a striker versus grappler matchup, so on average one would be tempted to take the grappler in Evloev here, especially when they are from the Chechnya-Dagestani region, but I just think Allen is a special fighter. He's a very mobile, fast and accurate striker. It's not like he's bad in the grappling department too, and yes, Evloev is going to take him down at some points of the fight. I don't doubt that at all, but I still think Allen will get this done with his elusive movement, his accuracy and his shot selection. Hell, Allen literally put up a good fight with Max Holloway, definitely winning the second round if you watch that one back, and even winning the 5th round until he got dropped by Holloway, and we all know how good Max is. Of course, Evloev is a scary grappler slash chain wrestler, but I do see some downsides to his MMA game overall. He's a pretty flat-footed striker. He does not pose a finishing threat at all, having 0 finishes inside the UFC. He did not look good against Diego Lopez, who of course is a beast, who also, by the way, ripped his knee out of its socket in that fight, which is a pretty serious injury, so he definitely won't be in physical prime condition in this fight. I just see Allen taking this one, taking the undefeated 0 off of Evloev's record. If anyone has a finishing threat here, it is Allen. I also do not like that Evloev is out there spending time with fucking Sneeko during a fight camp. Like, what the fuck? Still a 50-50 fight though, don't get me wrong, but at the implied probability of 37% for these odds of 2.70, I see a lot of value here. Official prediction is Allen by 29-28 decision. Take this one down to around 2.40 odds. On to the co-main event. I got Raquel Pennington versus Mayra Bueno Silva to go over 3.5 rounds at 1.66 odds for 4 units. What a sad co-main event, but fitting for this below average pay-per-view. Let's break it down. I think this fight will go long. I know most people have that Bueno Silva standing choke over Holly Holm in their head and probably do think that she will get a submission in this one too. But I have some reasons to believe that we will go at least over 3.5 rounds, so let's get into it. One crazy fact that I like here is that in both of these ladies combined 27 UFC fights. Neither of them has ever done or received a knockdown. No, I do not mean a knockout, I mean a knockdown. Absolute insanity, peak women's MMA right here. So neither of these girls are gonna hurt each other on the feet. Check. But on the other hand, a submission should be live here, right? Well, both of these ladies have also never been submitted in the UFC, which also adds a lot to my confidence here. I know that Bueno Silva got that sub a few months ago against Holly Holm, but let's be real here. Holly Holm at this point looks like a redneck that lives somewhere in a trailer park in the depths of West Virginia, downing 2 bottles of whiskey a day. I will not be swayed by that performance. I also don't like Silva's wrestling, so it's gonna be a problem for her to even get Pennington on the ground. Pennington also has made it to the 5th against the GOAT Amanda Nunes a few years back. I just see this going long. Only reason I'm not picking the over 4.5 is because Silva has never been in a 5-rounder in her career before, and over here at the money team we keep it conservative and go off what our eyes have seen before. 4 units take down to around 1.57. To end off the video, I also want to share my thoughts on the main event, Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. I think this fight is pretty much unbettable, but one angle that I want to give out here is that I might be placing a live bet on Strickland if du Plessis doesn't finish Strickland inside the first 2 rounds. While I do think that the most likely outcome if this fight is that du Plessis will do exactly that, so finish the fight inside the first 2, it is known that du Plessis has a below average gas tank, and as long as Sean isn't crazy hurt going into the 3rd, I will be taking that live bet on Strickland to win. I don't care that Duplessis' nostril got fixed and he supposedly has this amazing gas tank now. Strickland fights are always at a very high pace, which Duplessis probably hasn't felt yet, especially over 5 rounds, and I can just see him kinda gassing out if he's not able to finish him in the first 2. But I am not willing to place any bets on this one before seeing how the fight actually plays out. What I'm saying is, take a look at your bookmaker. If the fight is still going on in the 3rd round, anything around 2 or more odds, I will probably be taking Strickland for around 2 to 3 units. A tweet will of course be made if I'm placing this one. So that's gonna be it for my picks for the weekend. Of course, I might be adding some here or there if I'm spotting something, which I of course will be making a tweet and a community post about. So follow me on Twitter, like, comment, subscribe, and catch you guys soon. Money Team out.